Welcome to Everyday Martial Artist, a weekly podcast where you'll join me, Brian Doucette, as I interview a different martial artist each episode and hear their story. Some guests you may have heard of, and some you probably haven't. Be sure to subscribe where all your favorite podcasts are available. Also visit our website at everydaymartialartist.com. If you're listening for a specific interview, I sure hope you'll stay and check out the other episodes. A very special thank you to Topher Williams for our custom theme music. And now, the newest episode of Everyday Martial Artist. Everyday Martial Artist is brought to you by KOOnline.com for all your martial arts needs. Sparring and safety gear, rank belts, uniforms, weapons, patches, and more. Wholesale supplies made by martial artists for martial artists. Visit us today at ko-online.com. You know, one question I ask every guest on Everyday Martial Artist is about their favorite martial arts book. And there's never been one quite like Martial Theory by Steve Perlman, described as the art of war for the martial arts. Martial Theory helps any martial artist or instructor take their understanding and teaching to the next level. And at martialtheoryU.com, you'll find a global community with instructor groups, Q&A with Steve, live events, and demonstrations to help you apply martial theory directly to your training. It's not just a book, it's a movement. Find Martial Theory on Amazon, and when you join martialtheoryU.com, use discount code EverydayMA for 20% off. That's under $20 a month for life. That's martialtheoryU.com, code EverydayMA. Hello and welcome to Everyday Martial Artist. I'm your host, Brian Doucette, and as we do every week, we're joined by a brand new guest talking about their life and their journey throughout the world of martial arts and other stuff they're involved in. My guest today is a lifelong athlete whose competitive spirit has carried him from the wrestling mats of North Dakota to the bright lights of the UFC Octagon. Raised in Rugby, North Dakota, he built his foundation in wrestling, a discipline that would shape much of his life. After a standout high school career, he continued wrestling and competing at North Dakota State University before transferring to Minnesota State University Moorhead, where he was a two-time NCAA Division II All-American. That same drive propelled him into mixed martial arts, where he became known as the Crowbar, a heavyweight with powerful wrestling, relentless toughness, and a reputation for outworking anyone who stood across from him. He compiled an impressive professional record and earned his place on the world stage, stepping into the UFC to face some of the division's most formidable competitors. He also founded Crowbar MMA and promoted regional MMA events across North Dakota, which I was lucky enough to judge four or five of them. His journey didn't end when he stepped away from fighting. Staying true to his blue-collar roots and competitive nature, he shifted gears literally, entering the world of IMCA dirt track racing. Today, he's as passionate behind the wheel as he was in the cage, all while running his agricultural business and staying deeply connected to the communities he calls home. A wrestler, a fighter, a racer, a businessman, a husband, and a father. Please welcome my guest today, Chris Tuchscherer. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, buddy. How are you doing? It's been a while.
It has been a while, man. I'm trying to think, when was probably the last fight that you put on and that you promoted is probably the last time I saw you. So it's probably been what, a decade, maybe 8-9 years.
I can't even tell you the year that was. It's been so damn long, but I was just talking to someone about it the other day. We went to a PBR thing in Minot here at auditorium there. They had it there, bull riding deal. And,
okay.
Buddy were talking. He's like, "You should put on another MMA show in here." I said, that would be kind of cool. That'd be kind of crazy.
Hey, maybe I'd come out of judging retirement and head out there. And I mean, honestly, yeah. It's been easily 10 years since I judged. I think. I mean, I don't remember the last time I judged an event. So
it had been 2010 or
wow, man, we're getting old, dude.
Right.
And it's still weird for me saying Minnesota State University Moorhead, because when I went, it was Moorhead State University. So yeah. I got you by a few years, so it was different then, and it's kind of crazy. I've announced some sporting events for them. I've announced some basketball and soccer and volleyball for them, and it's still weird to say Minnesota State University Moorhead. So I actually, last time I announced for them, I wore my Moorhead State University jacket, my old school from like 92, and all these people were walking up, "Man, that's a cool jacket. Where'd you get that?" Like, that's old school.
Yeah, that's funny.
Nice. Well, I mentioned in the intro that you got your start in wrestling. First of all, I want to know, what age that started, but what I also want to know is, was that your first at all experience with any kind of combative sports? Did you do any kind of martial arts when you were younger, or was wrestling the beginning?
No, I mean, my parents got me into wrestling when I was just a little shit. I think I was, dude, maybe like a second grader. I didn't even know what age it was, but
wow.
I mean, I basically wrestled all my life, but wrestled Pee-wee, went to high school, so I wrestled Pee-wee, went to school in Rugby, North Dakota, till I was a fifth grader. Parents got separated, moved to Arizona with my mom. My dad lived back in Bowman, North Dakota, and I started working down there and was down in Arizona until I was a freshman. Did some wrestling down in Arizona. Moved back to my freshman year. I moved back to Bowman, North Dakota, to live with my dad, and that's Rame. I went to school in Rame, which is about 13 miles west of Bowman, North Dakota, and then I started wrestling in Bowman there, and was a two-time state champion. Sophomore year, I was third, and then took some time off and kind of went back to college and said, I'm going to try this wrestling shit again. And then it really took off again.
How different was wrestling? I kind of, there's some states that are just known for wrestling. And I kind of put, like obviously Iowa, Oklahoma, Minnesota's kind of up there too, in their high school. How was it in Arizona compared to North Dakota? Like, was it fairly different? Was it as competitive? How different was that?
No, I mean, it was, obviously I was a, seventh, eighth grader, but I mean, a lot of kids, I guess, a lot more high school or grade school or middle schools and shit. So I guess a lot more people, if I can say that. But when it come to like, were they tough down there? I can't remember it enough to say that they were tough. So
I get that. Okay. And then when it came for after your successful high school career, came the time for college. Were you heavily recruited by NDSU? Did you go seek them?
No, I actually walked on.
Really?
I was 20. How was I? 21 years old, and I walked on the squad, and I was like, I'm here.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
how long did you wrestle at NDSU?
So I wrestled for NDSU for about 3 years.
Okay.
And my first couple of years, I didn't have a starting position or nothing, but the third year I did, but the third year is when NDSU started talking about going Division I. So
okay,
and that was the year that I was like, everybody trying to transfer out of there because if you were any good and you could go to a national tournament,
you get stuck.
If you stuck around for the next year, you wouldn't be able to compete in a national tournament because they're put on probation. So
that 5-year
bunch of
probation.
us guys transferred out of there, and Moorhead was the closest Division II school to transfer to, and that's what I did. And
okay,
I guess it worked out good because that first year I was runner-up at nationals, and second year I kind of had a bad match and ended up still being taken fifth. But no, it was a good career in college, and actually at that time when I was a runner-up, and they even had an article on me. Can't remember where I was at. The article, it was an NCAA article that I was the oldest at that time. I was the oldest guy to make it to the semifinals in college wrestling.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And then, anyways, during those last couple years of wrestling, right before I left NDSU, kind of the way my MMA career started out was there was you probably remember it. What was it? Dakota Fighting Championships, right?
DFC, Chris Nell.
Yeah,
yep.
DFC. They had their first. Oh, hold on. Let me back up a second here.
Okay.
No, that was the one. It was DFC. It's at the Civic Center there in Fargo.
Yep.
And I remember, I can't even remember if it was Nelson or if it was Bruce Nelson, maybe, reached out to me because they had this guy coming in from California, and they called him the California Killer, and that was the guy they were going to spruce up for the show, and they reached out to me because I was an NDSU wrestler, and I suppose they wanted to, let's have an NDSU college guy in there and make a spectacle of it. So anyways, all the wrestlers talked me into doing it, and so that was my first fight, and it was pretty wild. It got pretty crazy in the Civic Center there. I remember I took this guy down fairly easy, or not fairly easy, but I took him down right away. But obviously I was a wrestler, and I got him on the ground and kind of started pounding on him. And then I took his back and choked him. And, he was the big talked up guy that coming out of California as a California Killer. I can't even remember. I suppose if you looked up my record.
Sean Cook, I believe was his name.
Sean Cook. Yeah. Yep. I wonder what that guy's doing these days. But I remember everybody was just fired up. I mean, a shitload of college people were there. It was pretty cool. And then, so anyways, he's like on his knees, and I remember it. I was pumped up. I choked this guy out. I was like, hell yeah, like this is my first deal here, and I got down on my knee, or I got kind of scrunched down in front of him, right? And he's on his knees, and I kind of scrunched in front of him, and I gave him like the cross across my neck, like, you're done. You know what I mean? Yep. As soon as I did that, he round up and fucking smoked me in the face. And then when that happened, the refs jumped in and the crowd went crazy. A bunch of people were throwing like beer cups with beer at him in the ring, and some of my wrestling buddies, they come running down from the top and they were jumping on the cage. It was pretty wild.
See, that one I wasn't judging, but I was there. I do remember being at that event. So yeah, that's fun. Yeah, so before that, were you a fan of the UFC? Did you watch it, when it first came out and stuff?
I remember back in the day watching the old UFC stuff, when I was in high school, even like. Okay. Yeah.
Back then, did you ever think, with your wrestling background, I could do that. Maybe I could do that. Did it ever cross your mind back then?
Well, yeah, because, a lot of my years, I was never a guy that like went out and tried to pick fights and look for fights, but it seemed like there were always someone wanted to fucking try me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even like through high school, we go to other towns and stuff, 20 miles away from Rugby, Towner or something, go to a get together or something. And there was always someone that wanted to try and test the big guy, like. Yep. And so I'd been in a few fights and I was known don't screw with that guy, I guess. Okay. And then, so yeah, me and my buddies used to watch the UFC, and I guess I thought to myself, oh, that'd be kind of cool, Yeah, yeah. But back then, that was when there was no goddamn rules, man.
Yeah,
remember those days? You get eye,
no biting, no eye gouging. That was it.
Yeah, it was crazy shit.
Yeah. So before that first fight, when they contacted you and everything, now obviously you had the groundwork. Did you find someone to go do stand-up training at all?
I started working out with. You remember Ethan Doyle, right?
Oh yeah. Yep, I remember Ethan. Yeah.
I started working out with him, and then who was the other big guy that? He was a Native American guy, big guy. He was pretty good too at one time. Dang, I can't remember.
I think I know who you're talking about, but yeah.
But Bruce too. Bruce.
It seemed like back then there was a lot of basically the homegrown MMA camps. They worked out in garages. Nothing official, but people just got together and worked out with what they thought they had to do.
Yeah, and those guys kind of like took me under their wing a little bit, and then from there, after that first fight, we actually started working out a little bit at the college wrestling room. And then when I went to Moorhead State there, I got permission to bring some guys in there and start working out in there. And it kind of got to be a group of us guys in there. And then I took my next fight. Oh, this is kind of interesting too. You're making me bring back memories now, buddy.
That's good.
So my next fight was at it was in a small gym in Minnesota.
It was the Moorhead Armory.
Yeah,
that was the first time I had judged you because I remember that because it was Krzysztof Sosinski.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy because he had a story too. Ended up being, and
I remember I was went to the movie theaters, me and my buddies, and we went to that movie Here Comes the Boom with Kevin James. And I'm watching the movie also, and I'm like, crap, that's Krzysztof. I judged one of his fights like 12 years ago.
Yeah. But he was kind of the next, they brought it, they were always trying to bring in someone big for me to fight,
mm-hmm.
Someone that had a name, but he was just a big jacked guy. Like he just looked huge, and I made work of him too. And then kind of my career started spiking up there a little bit and started getting some interest from other areas. And
you started off, you had like one no contest, but basically you didn't get your first loss. You were undefeated for like 4 years, 18 fights or something like that.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
No, it was pretty wild career, fighting every casino in North Dakota.
Yep.
Kind of being the guy,
I'm looking at some of these names, just looking at your list, and some of the ones that I remember judging, like Damian Decora. I remember that one.
Yeah,
I remember Travis. That was a good one. You and Travis, Jimmy Ambrose, that was a good one.
Yeah,
one of my favorite ones. I think I've told the story a few times when you fought Travis Fulton at the Civic Center.
Oh yeah,
I was literally I don't know how well you remember that fight, but you literally had your knees on his arm, so he could not protect himself, and you were probably 2 feet from me as I'm judging, and every time you hit Travis, he was smiling. He's like, "Is that all you got?"
Yeah.
It's like he was begging for you to, and he's like, "Don't stop this, judge or ref or whatever," and you just keep hitting him till finally the ref's like, "I'm stopping this." It's like It's like,
And the
wow.
people that don't know who Travis Fulton was, I mean, that guy probably still till this day has some of the more fights than any other fighter.
Over 300. Yeah. I mean, he has more knockouts than most people had fights.
Yeah.
So that's a tragic story with him. He was actually supposed to be my first guest on my podcast, and then hit the fan and everything happened with what I still have the interview recorded. I just, because of what happened with him and what he was accused of and all the stuff that came down, I've never released it. But he was supposed to be my first guest 5 years ago.
What the hell? Yeah, he was kind of a legend there. So
big time.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get hats off to Chris Nelson and Bruce Nelson with the Dakota Fighting Championship. They kind of took me under their wing, and I was their guy. I was their crowd guy. Guy that brought in the crowd, and they kind of lined up fights. They kept feeding me better guys and helped me build my career.
Yep.
Every better guy that I would fight, it helped ramp my career up to move up to the next level, and get noticed and recognized.
And I think it was DFC and NFA were the two big ones before the commission started. And then once the commission started, NFA went away, and then Max Fights showed up. Yeah. They put on some really good events too. I
think I fought on one Max Fight, I think.
I think you did too, because the Travis fight was Max Fights.
Oh, actually. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then you did Max Fights 4. You fought Tony Mendoza.
Yeah.
That was a good one too. So
and everybody that they put in front of me was supposed to be, the next step up type guy. So
yeah.
And I fought in the casino a few times up in Thief River Falls, and we're at in Newtown here. There's a couple big fights down there,
Yep. Yeah, you got around, man. You built up a nice career and stuff. So do you remember where you were when you got that call from the UFC?
I don't know how many people know the story about the UFC, but during my fighting career, I went and fought out in where the heck was that way out in the East Coast there, where I fought in the pit. Remember that?
Oh yeah, Atlantic City, I believe. Pit fighting.
Atlantic City, and so that was kind of my next step up, and then I was back, and then I started training down in Minnesota Mixed Martial Arts Academy. Yep. And then I did some stuff at Academy of Combat Arts in Fargo there. I started going down to Minnesota Mixed Martial Arts just to try and train with some bigger guys and, just little different stuff. And I figured I needed to do it to propel my career, and if I was going to do this. And I get a call one day from Brock Lesnar's manager. Mm-hmm. And basically we chatted, and he knew I was the guy in the Minnesota, North Dakota area that was the guy,
Yeah.
And that was during Brock's time when he tried out for the Vikings, and I think he made it to the final round before he got cut. Mm-hmm. And that was when he decided to try his mixed martial arts career.
Yep.
And, obviously with a name like that and who he was, he basically got invited to the UFC right away,
Yeah.
So I made a deal with those guys. They actually asked me if I could be Brock's training partner because I was working out in Minnesota mixed martial arts, and he needed a big guy and someone that had been in the sport a little bit. So that's when that started. So, and me and Brock, I talk to Brock on a weekly basis, still to this day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I kept training down there. Brock took me on as a training partner, and I can't remember the years for sure, but I went out to where they did the tryouts for the Ultimate Fighter, right?
Yeah.
And so I went out to, I think it was in Portland I had to go to. Went out and did a tryout. It's kind of crazy how they do the tryouts. You got to stand in front of all these people and act goofy and all this shit. And then you got to, put the gloves on and box in front of, or you got to kind of hit mitts in front of a group of people. And there's like a bunch of different stuff you got to do, and I'm kind of nervous. Back in the day, I used to be really nervous, like scared to get in front of people,
Yeah.
So me and my buddy were at the bar. I'm like, we started taking shots, so so I could loosen up a little bit for my interview in front of them, it's where I'm supposed to show them my personality type thing. And I remembered, you remember Ric Flair, the old woo, you know?
Yeah, yep.
And so I had a few shots in me, and I felt pretty good. And it was my turn to go into the room, and I walked in there, and I kind of got a little goofy, and I started acting like Ric Flair, and shit. And then I went and did the rest of it, all the different things we had to do, and got home. And like 2 weeks later, I got a call from them telling me that I was invited to come on the show.
Wow.
So I was pretty pumped up about that. So, there was a date when I was going to go on to the show or go out, to where we needed to go. And in the meantime, I'm training, still training with Brock, training down in Minnesota. And about a week before I was supposed to go on the show, I get a call from, God dang, what was his name at the time? It would have been the UFC. God, I can't even remember his name. But anyway, so I got a call from them telling me basically that they would like to offer me a UFC contract instead of going on the show.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of how my UFC career started there. And, I don't know, maybe being one of Brock's training partners, maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know I was good enough to try and get on to try and get a contract through the Ultimate Fighter. But so yeah, that was pretty cool. And then went on to my first fight, I guess, in the UFC.
Yeah, and of course that one goes down in history as the probably the hardest groin kick in UFC history.
I think if you still look it up on the internet, or follow UFC history.
Yep, I actually just watched it again yesterday, and it's like, anyone goes back and watches that fight, even Joe Rogan is like, how did he still fight after that? It's like they build him tough in North Dakota. It's like, man, that I mean, and what's funny is it's like the big fish stories. You people. I've talked to people. Yeah, it lifted them like 6 feet off the mat. Like, no, not quite 6 feet off the mat. But yes, it was hard, and most people would not walk away from that easily. Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't easy. Obviously, you took the full 15 minutes you needed, and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much dry heaving, laying on the side of the mat there, and Brock actually came out and was in my corner with me with Greg Nelson, which is my coach at the time, from Minnesota Mixed Martial Arts Academy.
Yep. And
then Marty Morgan, wrestling coach for the Gophers. We had a good team, but had those guys ringside with me and cage side, and it was my first fight. I didn't want to be the guy that quit. I should have quit. Should have just took the no contest, but I'm fighting Gabriel Gonzaga. They throw me to the wolves right away.
Big time.
It's not like nowadays they get a good guy in there and they throw some guy that ain't really that great at a guy that's supposed to be good.
Exactly.
Shit me, I go in there and they throw me right to. I mean, Gabriel Gonzaga, he was a UFC champion, I believe, at one time.
Yeah, I know he at least fought for the championship a few years before that. So,
but anyway, so I went out there and I didn't want to give up, so I took my break and they asked me, "Do you want to quit?" And I was like, "No, I was. I'm not a quitter, so I shouldn't have fought. I shouldn't have kept fighting, but I did anyways." And sure as hell, he kind of came out, and I think if I remember right, he kind of threw almost like a kick or something, and then obviously you just got kicked in the balls, so your reaction is kind of bend over and protect yourself. And as soon as I did that, he actually kicked me right in the center of the head, so kind of ended that deal, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, like I said though, just the toughness to even think to come back and continue that fight, man. Nothing but respect on that. That's crazy.
But it actually, I mean, it worked. One thing that did work out is I get home, and in a week, 2 weeks later, I get a nice bonus check from the UFC for doing that, So
Nice.
That was kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. Yeah. Nice. So then, now when you did 4 fights with the UFC, and when that time was done, did you look at any other promotions at the time? Did you just decide it was done?
No, to be honest with you, I the time when I decided to be done, I was traveling back and forth from Fargo to Minnesota, basically living there in the weekdays, coming home on the weekends. Had a kid, my daughter, Arabelle.
Yep.
And then Talon, my son, now he was just about ready to be born, and I just signed another 2-deal contract with the UFC, and there was a couple different weekends when I'd come, because we'd spar hard. We'd spar, usually we'd spar on Fridays, a couple days a week, and we'd be sparring with boxing gloves,
Yeah.
And there was a couple times there when I'd come home and I'd be home for the weekend, and shit, I started I'd take sentences and I'd switch words around in my sentences.
Oh, wow.
And I started catching that, and I was like, holy shit, this isn't good, And then I'd be fine after a few days. But that whole thing of that's kind of, it was kind of a scary deal to where I was like, I don't know. How many times can you get hit in the head? I don't care if you got boxing gloves on. You're, you're always getting hit, even though we're not even going hard, it's just one of them deals. And then that's kind of when I decided to pull the pin on that deal. And had an opportunity to take what I had and invest into I'll be my ex-father-in-law's farm and moved back to Minot, North Dakota, and with my wife at the time, and started doing some farming stuff.
Okay. Wow. Well, first of all, respect to you for realizing that, because so many pro boxers, pro fighters don't recognize the signs and keep going till it's too late. Yeah. And that, seriously, I never knew that's why. So that even more respect for you because of that. That's cool.
And since then I've probably had 3 scans on my brain just to make sure like something's not fucking goofy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But everything seems to be fine right now. And I'm 50 years old, just turned 50 this year. So
nice.
Yeah.
So then when you were promoting, when you had Crowbar MMA, was that while you were fighting? I'm trying to remember, or was that okay. So did you kind of stop everything around the same time then?
No, I did that. Yeah, kind of. We did the whole Crowbar MMA thing. I went into that thing with like, I'm going to make this out to be as close to the UFC as I could,
Yeah.
I mean, we'd spend $70,000, $80,000 on a show, I didn't want to be the show that like was kind of lame, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went all out. I tried to get good fighters on the card. And, after, I don't even know how many Crowbar MMA events we had, but we would just barely make anything off the shows. I was hoping to fill the seats one time and just, make some good money on it. And it was so much work. And, the production was awesome. We used to have,
definitely.
I tell this day, no one's ever put on a show like that. I'll say that out loud. I feel like we knew how to, do it right. Me and my buddy Dana Coulter from Fargo there.
Mm-hmm. No, they were phenomenal events.
Yeah. We used to try and do her up, but it just couldn't get the people in the seats, enough people to make anything off it, So we just kind of,
I want to say at least one of them came close to filling the Shields Arena.
Oh yeah.
I think at least one that was close to like 4,000 to 5,000 people.
Yeah.
So
no, I still have a picture. Well, if you actually go on Chris Nelson's Facebook page, it's still his background picture.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. It when you look at it, it almost looks like a damn UFC show. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you had the lighting and the production, and and you also had like some of your friends from the UFC. That Brock was there at least once or twice. Yeah. And didn't you have Vanderlei Silva come one time and like sign autographs? Yeah. So things like that. And all those, all those little things like that helped. And it's just, not just you, like when you stopped doing it, when DFC stopped doing it, when Max Fight stopped doing it, it kind of died in this. I mean, they still have them locally, but there's like one a year, where we used to have 4, 5, 6 events a year, sometimes more.
Yeah.
So the local MMA scene, unfortunately, isn't what it. I mean, there's still local gyms that are doing well, but most of them have to travel for fights now a little more than.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but we were like the first one to bring girl fights to the thing, to the MMA there. Yeah, and it wasn't even a thing in the UFC at the time, and it's kind of crazy, and till this day, I still think like someone was watching me, because. I don't know if you remember when we did the fight at the Ralph Engelstad Arena.
Oh yeah, I judged that one. I drove up for that one.
What the hell was her name? So Karate Hottie was one of my. I had in
Michelle
my shows,
Watterson. Yep,
Michelle Watterson, the Karate Hottie. What the heck else is her name? Kat Zingano.
Yep,
she was in my shows. There's another girl that Mendoza or Martinis or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, there was like 4 girls that I had on my shows, and those 4 girls all ended up climbing their ranks into the UFC.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool when I think about it like that, and I'm like, shit, I was the first guy to get these girls started type thing,
Yep. You were. Trust me, I remember that. 'Cause I remember one of the first times I'm like, really? A female? There was one other promotion before the commission that had a female fight. Back in like 2000, it was actually a NFA. They did a fight down in Detroit Lakes outside at this bar, and one of the females didn't show. So the promoter Chris.
Shit! I do remember something like that.
So she went. I mean, she was a black belt and stuff, but so she went in and fought, and it just it wasn't great, but at least at least they tried, and it was probably 6, 7, 8 years later till you did it. So that was cool. Yeah. And then everyone started doing it, which was good. But, because I know at one point, DFC had female fights, Max Fights had female fights, but I think you were probably the first. I think you're right on that. So that is cool. That's really cool, actually. So then you stepped away from it. Now your kids, do they do wrestling, any kind of martial arts at all?
Oh yeah, my kids aren't doing any mixed martial arts right now, but
Okay.
My boys all wrestle.
Okay, cool.
So my ex-wife, she lives in Fargo, and my two kids went to high school down there. My daughter's in college now.
Okay.
First year in college at Mankato State, and then my son Talon, he wrestles for Fargo Davies down there in Fargo, and he's done very well in his career. I think as an eighth grader, he was fourth at state.
Okay.
Freshman year, he was third. This is his sophomore year. He's they just came out with the state rankings. He's rated number 2 in the state.
Wow.
So that's exciting. And then I'm remarried again now, and my wife now, she has a boy, and we got him into wrestling,
Nice.
6 years ago, and he's doing really well. He's actually rated 8th in the state this year, but he wrestles for Minot up here.
Okay.
Where we live, and then I get a little shit. He's 8 years old.
Wow.
He's going to be the one that's going to be the killer.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. He's Jacer's his name, and he's a little shit, but man, he's a go-getter.
That's cool. That's awesome though.
But no, all my boys, it makes me feel so proud that, to watch them kind of follow my steps,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when it's wrestling season now. It just started, and it's go time now.
Okay. So would you ever, if the school asked, would you ever do like an assistant coach type thing, or no time for that?
I get asked it all the time.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. But I at this point in life, with my businesses, I don't have time for it now, but I'm hoping that, I'm going to try and maybe go down to Minot this year and see if I can help out a little bit. I wish I could get, I live 4 hours away from Talon down in Fargo there.
Wow.
But I try and make everything. I mean, wintertime, that's all I do is travel back and forth because I don't try to miss any wrestling,
Okay. To try to get to I last year I went to a couple meets because my daughter just graduated last year, but her best friend wrestled for Moorhead, and I think I went to a meet I think it was Davies or Cheyenne. Might have been Cheyenne actually, but and I've actually announced Concordia Wrestling for a few years. I've announced an NDSU wrestling meet and done some high school stuff. So if the opportunity, I always grew up. I had cousins that wrestled. I never wrestled myself, but I had friends that wrestled, cousins that wrestled. So if there's a chance, I love watching it. So one thing about that, anytime it's someone who wrestled, I know like when I was in it, not when I was in it, but when I watched it back in the 80s and 90s, this never happened. So I'm wondering, in your experience, when did the thing change where they turn off all the lights and just have the one light on the wrestling meet? Because that wasn't a thing when I was in high school. That seems to be like in the last maybe 10 to 15 years or so that I've noticed.
When I was in college and wrestling, NDSU used to do that.
Really? Okay. So maybe it started at the college level and the high school started copying it maybe.
Yeah.
As the first time I was announcing a wrestling meet, and I'm like, why'd they shut the lights off? this is new for me. Okay. That's kind of cool. So right when you decided to give up promoting, give up fighting, did it ever cross your mind to maybe like open your own gym?
No, I've had people tell me that. No, to be honest, I never really thought that way. I guess I went on to kind of try a different career with farming and
obviously that's going well and that's successful.
Yeah.
But at this point you wouldn't change that. But I was just wondering maybe right when it ended, if you thought, hey, maybe I'll open my own gym or something like that. But that's something it's not for everyone. Not everyone enjoys doing that or wants to do that. So
yeah.
Okay. So how about, obviously just chatting with you now, it's so much stuff I didn't know, even though I've known you and talked to you over these years. Have you ever thought of writing a book to tell your story?
I got a buddy, Nate, Class B, who lives in Rugby.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells me that one of these days he's going to write a book on me.
Honestly, it's a great story. I kind of think you should encourage him to do it, especially nowadays with all the the different tools and the software. It's so much easier to do it. Right. Self-publishing and stuff. And yeah. I hope so. If it happens, you got to let me know because I will be one of the first ones to buy a copy. I think that'd be a cool story to hear, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So I got to ask you this. Let's say they write the book, it's a bestseller, and they decide they're going to make a movie. Who do you want to play a young Chris Tuchscherer? Would you rather have like a big name young actor or an unknown?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Okay, it just popped into my head. I'm like, I could see a Chris Tuchscherer movie. That'd be kind of cool. So,
yeah. No, I mean, after my fighting career, I took it right on my competitiveness. And, all my life, I've always been competitive. And I've always thought to myself, the harder you work at life, the good things will come. I've always had that attitude. And I took that into everything I've ever done. I quit fighting. I decided to just try farming with my ex-father-in-law. Mm-hmm. We did it for a few years. That didn't work out. That's when I started up my own business, Optimatic Solutions, and Tuchscherer Egg Services. And, that all started here back in 2016. And everything's just been great. I couldn't ask for a better deal. My business is growing substantially.
Okay.
I take a lot of pride in my businesses, and I go get up every day, put the work boots on and get ready to go to war. And it seems to, if I had to tell anybody, like I always tell kids and guys, like the hard work will pay off. I promise you,
Nice.
But my competitiveness gets me in trouble sometimes because I get other competitors and stuff that don't like the competitiveness, but it just feeds my goddamn fire, to be honest with you.
That's good though.
But I own an egg retail business up here in Minot, Moorhead, North Dakota. Got a location in Sherwood and Kenmare.
Wow. Okay.
And then we do a bunch of custom application things. I got custom combining. I do planting, spreaders, sprayers, and we're full agronomy center now. Yeah, it's been great. I got a hell of a team that works for me.
That's awesome.
Good group of guys and ladies, and I couldn't be any happier right now, to be honest with you. My kids are doing good. My daughter's in college; she's doing good. I couldn't ask for any better life right now.
That's awesome. And do you still find time to do racing?
And then I throw that goddamn race cars in there. Actually, I do find time, and that's I always tell people that's my away time to like shut everything off. You know?
Okay.
What I mean? And I need that sometimes because I'm so damn busy with all the things I got going on, all the irons in the fire, and I use that race car to get my mind off it for a few hours, and then as soon as I get in the truck and come back home, my brain's already turning back on to the business.
So did the racing kind of take the place of being in the gym and hitting the heavy bag and doing groundwork with people and stuff?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Okay.
No, it's just that competitive nature of me, I got to be doing something to where I'm competitive somehow,
Yeah. How often are you racing?
Actually, I'm leaving Friday morning to go race in Arizona.
Okay. So it's not just local stuff. You're traveling for it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I travel a little bit in Arizona. I take my car down there, a couple weeks ago, and then they got some races they do down there in the wintertime, specials and stuff. So I'll fly down there. My car's at a buddy's place down there and do a little racing. I'll come back Sunday and get back to work on Monday.
That's awesome.
Just my little time to get away, and
okay.
Family's good.
That's good.
Got an awesome wife back at home here.
So over your whole career, like throughout wrestling, sports, where everything you've done, I mean, you might have just answered this, but is there like one philosophy that is just super important to you? You keep coming back to it. It's at the top of your list. I mean, you kind of mentioned work hard. Is that kind of it, or is there something different?
Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, to me, what I see nowadays, I feel like is guys, they feel they're entitled to things. People are too entitled to things nowadays. They don't realize like you have to work for what you got. So it just goes back like if you don't put in the goddamn work, you're not gonna. Everybody complains about people how they got this, they got that, but yet they're not putting in the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you put in the work, things are going to pay off for you. That's what I have to say.
I like it.
I don't give a shit how down you are, how rough shit's been. It's not an excuse. Like, get after it,
Yeah.
I've taught this in my kids. I've already drilled it in my kids, and I can see it. I see the progress. Like my son Talon, like he, 3 years ago, he used to, whenever I tell him things and like, you got to do it this way. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm hard on him, but like I try and say things to him and they look at you like I was goofy or something.
Yeah.
And then it's like, now I feel like it's like they think to themselves, holy shit, like he was right, and now they do good in the things they do, and I just try and stress that to them all the time. Don't ever give up and give her hell.
That's good. That's good. Can't even be I'm asking this question because I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but worst martial arts related injury. Would it be the groin kick, or is there a worse one out there?
Well, no, the groin kick, and then I don't know if you remember seeing when I fought Mark Hunt in Australia.
Yeah.
That last UFC fight I had when my eyelid was hanging over my eye.
Oh, God, I forgot about that. Wow. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one. I had to sit 13 hours on a flight with, kind of beat up there. Got to sit between Joe Rogan and who else was it? Bruce Buffer, though, on the way home. So that was interesting. Those are two guys I'm trying to get on my show. I've sent out requests, but so far no luck. But I think they'd both be fun to talk to. So yeah, I actually, one night at a UFC thing, I sat and talked to Joe Rogan for a while. This is before. I mean, obviously he's always been big, but now he's huge, in the podcast. But me and him sat and talked about Brock and shit, a lot, and he was picking my brain on the whole fight camp and this and that. But I wonder if that guy would ever remember me.
Oh, I bet his fight knowledge up there. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he would. He'd be. I have no doubt he'd remember you, man. I mean, I've been a fan. I remember him from when he was on that show when he was a stand-up comedian. He was on the show News Radio back in the 90s. And then he did Fear Factor before the UFC. So
he would have to remember me because he's got to remember the balls kick.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, no doubt.
And then like when I fought, if anybody ever watches the video of me and Mark Hunt when my eyelid was hanging off in front of my eye, and the doctor steps in the ring, and they're trying to decide if I should fight still or not, and I'm sitting there saying, no, I want to fight. I want to fight. And you can hear Joe Rogan on the commentary saying, holy shit, this guy's going to fight. And then he started talking about, North Dakota tough shit, and he's like, that right there, folks, is an ultimate fighter.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee he remembers you, man.
Yeah.
So when you fought, what was your walk-up music? And did it change throughout your career, or did you use the same song?
I had different songs every time.
Every time? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
When I was fighting, not in the UFC, I guess, Ladies and Gentlemen, Saliva was my walkout song.
Okay.
And then, I changed it up, kind of different songs in my UFC career, I guess. I can't even remember what my last fight would have been in Australia there.
Mm-hmm.
It was an AC/DC song.
Nice.
Because I was trying to get the Australians on my side, so I had to pick
That's a good way to do it.
I mean, I'm an AC/DC fan anyways, but I was like, I got to get this. And it was unbelievable. Like, I can't even remember the song I had. Is it We Salute You or something like that? I think that song. And so I was fighting Mike Hunt, and he's where is Mike Hunt from? He's from, can't remember. He's from an island over there somewhere.
Yeah. Is it New Zealand? No.
Yeah, New Zealand.
Might be, yeah.
So I was like, I got to get these Australians on my side, And so I picked that song, and I tell you what, man, there's no other feeling in the world that's as crazy as when you walk out. And I mean, they sold out that Acer Arena in like 13 minutes or something when they did that fight.
Wow. Over
there. And I can't remember how many thousands of people there are in there. But when I played that AC/DC song, like when I come walking out, the crowd just fucking went wild. They're just screaming. And it's like, you're walking through there and it's like you have thousands and thousands of people screaming, It's quite the feeling. It actually gives me goosebumps right now thinking about it.
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
So is that probably, of all the places you fought, is that probably the coolest place you fought?
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, it was cool to fight. I fought in Vegas twice, the MGM Grand and Mandalay Bay there. So that was cool, it's kind of cool to tell people, hey, I fought there,
Yeah, definitely.
Whenever we go to Vegas. But
if you had to, like, let's say you were still fighting today, if you had to pick a new walk-up song, is there a new one you think you'd pick? Is there like a good pump-up song you like now? Maybe one you listen to before you're going to race or something? Or
probably the one that I picked out for my son I always tell him he needs to listen to. It's called, is it Skillet? Monster?
Okay. I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, that one pumps me up.
Okay.
I still work out. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm the fittest guy, but I still hit the gym, 4 or 5 times a week.
Okay.
Just trying to lift and stuff. And am I in shape? I can't say I'm in shape. I feel like I'm 30 pounds overweight, but, for being 50 years old, I still feel pretty good. And I feel like if I don't I don't quit doing that stuff, maybe I can, stay good for a while. I mean, actually, not last year, but 2 years before that, I don't know if you ever heard, but I went down to what would have been called down in South Dakota there. They have a big wrestling tournament down there, and they have a 30-year-old and up division.
Yeah.
And for 2 years in a row, I won that thing.
Really?
Yeah, it was a wrestling tournament. My kids wrestled it and everything.
That's awesome.
Black Hills Nationals.
Okay.
Yeah. So I won that division 2 years in a row.
That's really cool. That's impressive, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, you still got it. That's good. Okay.
I was going to do it this last year, but I was just too much out of shape because I wasn't really doing anything. The couple of years before, I was actually up helping the Minnesota State wrestling heavyweight.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was in a little bit of shape. So
yeah.
I don't know. You never know. Maybe I'll get a hair up my ass this year again because I love being competitive.
You decide to do it again? Let me know. God, maybe I'll road trip. Cheer you on. That'd be kind of cool, man. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I got a few fun questions for you to wrap up the interview. So now when I talk about martial arts, that includes, martial arts, boxing, wrestling, everything, MMA. So who are 3, 4, 5 people that you'd put on your personal Mount Rushmore of martial arts?
3 or 4?
3, 4, 5. I've had people list as many as 8 because they just can't pick, and I've had people give as few as 2. So 3, 4, 5 names.
George St. Pierre.
Nice. Okay.
Matt Hughes.
Nice.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Wanderlei Silva.
Okay.
Let's see who else.
What about were you a big Dan Gable fan as a wrestler?
No, I guess another guy. Bucky Mon.
I've heard that. Where have I heard that name? I know I've heard that name.
He's a legend in the D2 wrestling.
Okay.
world.
That is cool.
That's where I started my wrestling career at NDSU, and Bucky was a big inspiration for me. So
okay, all right, I like it.
Get after me, and
that's good though. All right, how about do you have a favorite martial arts book?
No, I don't read books like that.
Okay, no worries. All right, how about a favorite martial arts video game? Did you get into video games when you were younger, like I did?
No.
Really, you never did like a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, any of those games like that?
Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat. We used to play that, I guess, when we were little. Yeah.
Okay.
Fighting game.
Nice. All right, how about a favorite martial arts TV show? And these ones, people pick anything from like the old Kung Fu, Highlander, Walker, Texas Ranger, Cobra Kai, Into the Badlands. There's so many choices.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. What was that show?
Did he have a show? I know he had a movie. Did he ever?
Oh yeah, show? No, I was thinking the movie.
Okay.
Show.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't even think of watching any. I guess to be honest with you.
Really? Okay. No, not a big deal. All right. Well, now you mentioned movies, so how about a favorite martial arts movie? Van Damme, you thinking of like Bloodsport or something like that?
Bloodsport, hell yeah! I'll probably watch that thing 10 times.
You'll have to go back and listen. I actually interviewed Frank Dukes, the guy that the movie is supposedly based on. So,
oh really?
Yeah, he was one of my early interviews in the show like 3-4 years ago or something. So
what the hell?
I'd love to get Van Damme on the show. He'd be fun to talk to. I think he's another one I put out the request. And so far I've been lucky. I've had big names on here, man. I've had lots of the movie stars that Mark Dacascos, who was like John Wick and everything like that, and
oh wow, things
like that. I have a lot of people from the Karate Kid movies and Cobra Kai and stuff, but no Van Damme yet. So I'm working on it. Be kind of cool. All right, now this one doesn't have to be a martial arts movie. Any movie you've seen in your whole life, a favorite movie fight scene.
Favorite movie fight scene.
Yeah. And this one, people have picked anything from like Star Wars, The Princess Bride, Marvel, Rocky, Batman, anything in between.
I can't think of one.
I'm trying to think of some. Just not a big movie guy, or?
Not really, I guess.
Okay. I mean, you said Bloodsport. I mean, there's some pretty good fight scenes in that one.
Yeah, no, I guess I could say that. Yeah, Bloodsport. Karate Kid guy too. Karate Kid.
Oh, I love Karate. That's my favorite movie. Yeah.
That's there's one. Karate Kid.
The final one in the original movie.
Yeah. The final one.
I still get chills watching it. That's actually the movie that got me into martial arts. I literally.
Really?
Yeah. My listeners are probably sick of hearing this, but literally June of '84, opening weekend, went to that movie on a Friday night, and as we're walking out of the movie theater, local Tung Sudo school is in the lobby handing out free passes, and I joined that Monday night. So 40 some years later, still doing it. So yeah, I love that movie. I get chills watching it, and I've interviewed like 7 people now connected with the Karate Kid world. So that's kind of been very lucky. But Trying to think. I don't know if there's that many, but is there? Can you think of any good wrestling movies? I mean, I know there's was it Vision Quest back in the 80s?
Vision Quest.
But there was one that came out just a couple years ago.
Yeah, and I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah, was it?
They got an ad there. I seen there's one. I think there's one that just came out too.
Yeah, it was like something like the Champion or something, or
that Vision Quest song, man. That thing is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. God, I can't remember. Oh, The Last Champion came out in 2020.
I've never seen that one.
Cole Hauser stars in it, who's a really good actor. Does a lot of good stuff. And I remember it was like came out during COVID and was like stuck at home and found it on streaming. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it, and it was good. I mean, probably not as good as Vision Quest, but it's worth watching. I mean, if you like wrestling, I can't remember. I want to say it might be based on a true story. I could be wrong, but yeah, I mean, those are like the only two wrestling movies I can think of. So interesting, kind of like that. But it's a good one. So yeah. Well, before I let you go, is there anything else that we want to get out there that we want to mention? And like I said, I'll put links, and if you want to send me links for your business, promote it, we'll put it out there. But anything we want to mention before we wrap this up?
No, I guess I just like to thank everybody that's helped me out through my career.
Nice.
I haven't forgot about anybody, and it's been a good ride.
It definitely has been.
It's still going. So anybody out there that's ever helped me out or been a fan of mine, it's kind of crazy. I still get fan mail every once in a while, and
that's cool. I mean, that says a lot about you, man. That's really cool.
Yeah. So I just appreciate all that. And
hey, I truly appreciate this. It's been, you've been on my list to contact you for a while, and I always see on your Facebook you're super busy, but I just figured, I'm just going to ask him. We'll see if we can squeeze in an interview here, and I'm so glad, because like I said, I'd known you for a while, and we've chatted a few times, but a lot of the stuff you said I didn't know, so I learned a lot about you today, and that's really cool, and I truly, truly appreciate your time, and I think the listeners are going to enjoy this one.
Yeah, great.
Wrap up today's episode by taking your own training to the next level with Martial Theory by Steve Perlman, the book that's redefining martial arts thinking. Find Martial Theory on Amazon today. Join the worldwide movement at martialtheoryu.com, where you'll find Q&A sessions, live events, and direct guidance from Steve himself. Use code EverydayMA for 20% off for life. That's martialtheoryu.com, code EverydayMA. Thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist. We hope you will join us every week for a brand new episode with a different martial artist telling their story. If you enjoy the show, be sure to leave us a review. Also, be sure to check out our website at everydaymartialartist.com. There you can find all of our episodes and contact us to suggest guests and ask questions. Again, thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist, and we'll see you next week.